Hi there and welcome to Vox Singing Academy's video podcast number 29. And today we are going to be talking about, because we have an expert here today, we're going to be talking about the difference between the Polish and European music scene to the Australian music scene. So Natalia, how long have you been over here in Australia for?
Almost 3 years.
3 years. Natalia is a multi-instrumentalist, multi-linguistic. You speak numerous languages, 5 languages. Producer, songwriter, dancer, choreographer, amazing singing teacher, just to name a few. But your music background goes back to when you were very, very young in Poland, about 3 or 4. And you're writing and singing, and you've gone to music schools, and after music school, I know you're telling me that you used to go to school and you were in choir at school, and you used to finish school and then go to music school after school till 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, and then after that go and record and all sorts of crazy stuff. But we just really wanted to give the listeners more so a run-through, a first-hand run-through of the European or Polish music scene and how it differs from the Australian music scene. Just because I have a lot of bands that are big in Europe and have broken more so in Europe more so than over here. So just tell us a little bit about the Polish music scene.
Wow, Polish music scene has been, of course, very affected by the history. So, especially after the Second World War, we have a period when like 40s, 50s music, some happy, nice melodic tunes, they're quite folkish. After that, there was a period of 60s and 70s, and then we mostly had already rock and roll, rock, the proper rock, and jazz started emerging in Poland, and even electronic music.
Just before that though,
yeah.
Traditional Polish folk music was really where it started from, didn't it? Really?
Really, yes. But that's probably like music before war, you know? Like war makes the cultures mix and everything.
Because, you know, the composer Tchaikovsky, he was... Tchaikovsky, was he Polish?
No, Russian. But close enough. We also have famous composers.
But classical and medieval music dates all the way back to...
Yeah. And Chopin. Chopin was Polish.
Was he?
Yeah.
Chopin, there we go. Very good. He had big hands, apparently.
Yes. Actually, where I grew up is really close where he grew up.
Oh wow, there we go. So maybe the water there is all the musicians. But the history is runs very rich and very deep through Poland, and I know because I'm from Polish descent, and I've been to Poland a couple of times, and especially even in their chamber music, classical music, medieval music was huge over there.
Classical music is huge, and it's on a really high level. Like we've got really good classical music schools, and we have all the people coming from all over the world to study in Poland classical music. Famous concerts. Even the other day I was watching some YouTube podcast of some 2 famous Asian guys, and they were just saying, oh yeah, we're going to Poland next week for concerts. Because it's really, really big. Chopin concerts are big.
So the market there still to listen to classical music is big.
The school that I was doing after school was classical.
Wow.
I'm a classical guitarist.
Wow.
Yeah.
And were you also doing classical singing as well too?
Yes.
Wow, that's why your technique was no good, huh?
I've got to say that there were things coming from classical music technique that make my technique really bad, I've got to admit. Yeah. And from classical singing teachers. But now even my classical singing is pretty good.
Good. So it should be. I think, look, that's another subject we can talk about, is the difference between classical singing and contemporary singing. We can do another video podcast regarding that when we have more time, if you're coming from that background. But just tell me a little bit about the music scene, more so why you've been in it for the last nearly 20 years, I suppose, really.
Yeah.
Because it must be, it's not like, for instance, Spanish you know, because if you're singing, you're in a Spanish band, you can go everywhere from Argentina through to Spain, all the way through to Mexico, from pretty much from all the way from America, from the north to the south of America. You've got a market if you're singing in Spanish.
Yes.
With Polish, it's very small.
It's very difficult.
Can I just actually ask you a question regarding that? Because I don't know many Polish bands. I know Behemoth, and they sing in English.
Yeah.
So, do a lot of Polish bands, contemporary Polish bands, sing in English to break that market? Because you know what? If I was Polish, I probably would.
Yeah, some people do it more and more these days. These days, I'd say almost every artist would have at least 1 or 2 songs in English. We rarely mix, you know, like you can see it a lot in Asia that they would sing in their original language and mix and throw some English words.
Does that happen in
We
Poland?
don't do that.
Okay,
It's extremely rare. You either do English or Polish.
Wow, because I see that a lot in K-pop. We're going to talk about K-pop another time as well too. But you know, I work with people that bring in K-pop songs here, and they'll sing a bunch of it in Korean.
Yes,
And
and
then
then
they'll-
throw a sentence in English.
Yes, or even a word. So a
Yes.
line or a word. Okay, so that doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen, and I think something like 10, 15 years ago, it wasn't good for Polish artists to be performing in English. A lot of people would like look down, hey, you're Polish, you're performing for Polish people, why do you sing English song, you know? Our language is beautiful. But nowadays, music in Europe doesn't differ that much. It's very similar from country to country. It's, you know, it's such a fusion right now, and also singing in English opens the market. You can perform for more people, do more tours. So this is absolutely justified that more and more people do that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that was one of the big questions that I wanted to ask you about. Just because can you name some bands for me that have broken the Western market, the greater Western market, that are Polish?
Don't ask me that question.
Okay, alright.
Like, I know there are bands that had big successes abroad, and we even had a musical that was pretty successful in States, but it's not that famous worldwide.
Yeah.
Polish is pretty unique, let's face it. It's a very difficult language.
Yeah. Because we've got, like, I've got, you know, I'm from a Polish background, so Lady Pank.
Yeah, Lady Punk, yeah, you've got ONA,
Cult.
Manam, and Cult, yeah. They are big, and they are big especially in Poland because of 80s and 90s. After the communism started fading away, actually even before that, they were fighting for this at the festivals in Jarocin. Rock music was what kind of kept people fighting against communism.
You just mentioned festivals. Do you have big summer festivals over there for
Yes,
music?
so yeah, Jarocin is the one that I just mentioned. But apart from that, we also have those Heineken, Orange festivals. You know, they are like branded with like big companies, and they are like 3 or 5 days festivals, usually in the capital city or touristic places or in the north at the seaside.
And with those big festivals, are they predominantly Polish bands, or do you have international bands coming that headline them?
We have international bands. There are Polish artists headlining.
Yeah.
But it's a mixture.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
It's good that they're mixing that up.
We have some, you know, worldwide famous like Maroon 5 would come, or
yeah,
like a lot of great bands, and at the same time performing alongside Polish artists.
Yeah. That's good that they do that, because I noticed that with a lot of the festivals over here in Australia, I know they're predominantly bringing in a lot of more so overseas bands, and very few Australian bands would get onto the bill, but they're putting more and more Australian bands onto these bills now, which is good. I think we need to promote Australian music a lot more here in Australia. Something that I just want to ask you about, because I've got a couple of friends that are French, and I've got an ex-teacher of mine that's French, and he actually stopped teaching here and went back to France because he gets paid like the equivalent to government allowance over there for songwriting and for writing songs. So even if you're a painter or whatever it is, you can actually get the dole, and that's why he went back over there. And then, so you can write and just say, look, I'm writing this album, doing this song, you just submit it to the government and they actually pay you to do that. That's why he went back to do that. And then even once you release your album, you go back and do it again, then the government just pay you the equivalent to what they've assessed you beforehand, the same to do that, to
continue
cultivate art over there.
Work.
And that's why he went back there, because he really couldn't survive over here, even though he was doing his originals and covers. He couldn't survive as a musician over here, so he actually went back to France. Do you have something like that over in Poland? Because I think here in Australia, we don't support art.
You do. You just don't know about
enough.
it. The government has amazing programs here in Australia. Amazing programs and free workshops. Like, I know about it because I'm a singer-songwriter. And there are great grants. You can apply every month for a grant to either release your music, to record your EP, for your songwriting stuff. There are multiple opportunities actually here. And every once in a while, I think every half a year, you can submit an application for a bigger project. So if you want to do an EP and a music video and you need really a lot of money, you know. So it's not that bad. In Poland, it's
with
difficult.
these grants though, you have to pay them back, Natalia, here in Australia. You don't?
No.
All right. I need to look into that.
Yeah, I think the ones that I found, there was nothing about paying back. But the application needs to be strong, and it needs to support, you know, the local culture, local market.
All right, that's very, very interesting.
And like, you need to be precise about what you really want to record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
so we need to do more research in that, because that's something, you know, with struggling musos.
I can send you some links.
That'd be good.
The other thing is, in Poland, I know there is more interest in this area, and like, the music is blooming now. We have so many new emerging artists. This is fantastic. And Polish performance, singing in Polish and being like really, really big around Poland, people would prefer to listen to them rather than international musicians, and that's great. Really great. Yeah. So this is like growing.
Sorry, Nat, can I just butt in there for a second as well too? Sorry, my acquaintance also said that in France, don't quote me, I'm going to make this figure up, but in France they have to play on radio, they have to play like 80% French content.
Yes, it's pretty amazing in French. I think they have similar thing in Italy, but in Poland it's not the case. So in Poland, for many years as I was growing up, we would get mostly international music playing on the radio. There would be like one station where they would focus on Polish music, just one station, and all of the other station would serve you a mixture.
Yeah.
Which is usually, I'd say, 60 to 40, where 40 is Polish music.
Yeah.
And now this is changing.
Good.
Now Polish music, I think it's really refining.
That's
we
good.
have a lot of really, really good artists these days, so it's actually a pleasure.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I think that we need to bring something like that in Australia, where we need to bring in that we're going to play at least 60 or 70% of Australian content here in Australia. Because I know that when I was travelling through Europe, or even I lived in America for numerous years, you know, when I was in America, they played predominantly American music on the radio when I was there. This is the late 80s, early 90s, a long time ago. And also when I was travelling through Europe. So when I was in the UK, there was a lot of UK music. France, obviously French. When I was in Germany as well too, they were playing a lot of German music on the German radio back then.
The music industry is really big in Germany. Actually, it's famous worldwide for being big. I think Germany and Netherlands. Yeah. So if you are emerging artist and you want a good place, you know, to have a big network and meet a lot of people for collabs, Germany is fantastic for that.
Yeah.
Especially around Hamburg.
The Beatles. That's where the Beatles pretty much.
Voila.
You know, ground their teeth, and sorry, now I interrupted you. You're right in the middle of something that you're saying there about.
I don't remember. Well, I was just saying that I don't know about the grants yet in Poland, just because I spent last 3 years here. Yep. So I don't know how it looks at the moment. I know that just before I departed, I have a friend who is a songwriter, and he's not a singer. He was learning how to sing, but he's a songwriter. He writes amazing lyrics. And he just went to one of the recording companies. He said, these are my lyrics. I want to make money with writing lyrics, when he was in high school. And they were like, wow, this is pretty good. And they signed him straight away. So sometimes you don't need a grant. You just need a good product.
Yeah. Well, look, you can do that over here in Australia as well. So you can submit any of your material to any record companies.
Yeah.
And
you need to get them to look through your material.
Exactly. That is hard. Generally, if you've got a manager, it's better so that you look more professional. But you can also get a oh god, it eludes me now. It will come to me about how to get your stuff published. A publisher.
Yeah.
So you can get a publishing agent, and they can try to sell your songs or lyrics or whatever it might be. There are lots of people that make lots of money. Dolly Parton is very famous for that. She's written more hit songs than what people know about. So, and so is Ed Sheeran as well too.
Yes.
He's written lots of songs for other people that have been very, very big hits.
He even wanted to give away "Shape of You." He took it to his manager and he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna give that song to Rihanna, I think." And the manager was like, "No, why?
Yeah.
You performed this song."
Yeah.
And "Shape of You" is such a huge hit worldwide.
Yeah. Look, you probably never know. Do you know what I mean? I know that I've heard some stories of some bands keeping songs when they probably would have made a lot more if they gave them to a more famous person. But he's already famous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm talking about someone that wasn't quite as famous but had one hit song, but they could sell it to someone else. But sometimes it's not all about that. Sometimes it's about the art. And about it's your song and you want to perform it.
It's about the craft.
Yeah.
And writing really good songs so lyrics flows really good with the melody.
Yeah. I think Macy Gray was a big one of that when she had that. What was that big hit that she had? Macy Gray had a big hit, but it was whatever the song was. It eludes me. It's a long time. It must be 15 years ago now. But she was She was writing songs, and she, the person that was going to come in to actually do the vocal take of the song didn't turn up. So the producer asked her, "Hey, can you come in and just do a scratch track for it?" Producer liked that they released it. Became a big hit. That was her big hit. Whatever the song is, it eludes me now.
But these stories with songs and production are incredible. And Celine Dion, she didn't want to sing the Titanic song, "My Heart Will Go On." She didn't want it. She was like, "No, I'm not singing that." And they really had to, her manager had to really work with her through this, and then it's her biggest hit worldwide.
Yeah, it is her biggest hit, but then again as well too, does she like singing it?
She says she does. She didn't like it in the beginning, but then she said that's what she said in the interview.
Yeah.
She started liking it really.
Because we work on lots of songs in classes,
yes.
Lots of different songs and genres, and there are some songs that I love working on. Some songs that
that you just work too much on and you just go I cannot hear it again.
Yes, there are songs like that. 100%. I know I've got some songs that are banned. People aren't allowed to bring them in. Summer of '69 by Bryan Adams. Yeah. Horses by Daryl Braithwaite. Jesse's Girl. K-San. There's a couple of others that people just can't bring in. Even the first Adele song, "Never Mind Our Fun," just because so many people brought it in when it first
happened. I think, wasn't it "Rolling in the Deep," the first one?
No,
because
that was the bigger one.
Okay.
Okay. But still, I still like that song. People can bring that one in, but Summer of '69 and Horses. It's just especially.
But I have the same thing with Summer '69. The other day, I was practicing for the gig with my friend. And she was like, "Let's do Summer '69." And I was like, No, we're not doing this.
But people want to hear that.
I know. But let's do something else. We did. We found I Want to Dance with Somebody.
Yeah, that's good.
Beautiful.
Well, even Horses by Daryl Braithwaite. He played the St Kilda Festival a couple of years ago. There were a bunch of young kids that were, a quarter of his age there.
Yeah.
He finished with Horses. And the crowd was packed, and the crowd went crazy. They sang every single word to it. There were people with horse masks on and all sorts of stuff. And it's huge. People want to hear it, and you've got to give pardon me, the crowd what they want. So yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about the European?
No, I think it's going a good direction, a really nice direction. And in the other episode we can talk more about songwriting, publishing and producing based on Sigrid.
Yeah, but we want to bounce from one to the next. We don't want to tell what the other podcasts are going to be. I just want to finish up here. Vox Singing Academy and particularly myself have had dealt with a lot of bands that have got major label recording contracts, and I have a lot of bands that are bigger in Europe than what they are in any other country or any other continent. Any other continent. Especially Europe seems to be very, how can I say, loyal. The crowds there are very loyal. So if you've broken there, you've always got a crowd and a market to go back to. You know, like I've got bands like, for instance, Airborne are huge over there. Ash Grunwald, Cut Copy, Circles, massive. Electric Mary go on tour there every album. Black Majesty, White Widow. Now half of these people probably wouldn't even in Australia wouldn't even heard of these bands. But you know these bands play to big venues over there, especially like
in UK or.
Yeah, massive, play all the big festivals, Ash Grunwald, Dream on Dreamer, In Heart's Wake, North Lane, Dead Letter Circus, all these bands play over there are very big. More so than America. America's nearly very, and I've been in the industry for a long time and I can only observe from what I've seen because I lived there in the early 90s, but I felt that the American market is very trend orientated. So if there's something that's new, like post-hardcore, it's all post-hardcore, and if there's something else, you just can't get in. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Or whatever that might be. But post-hardcore has been the big one for the last couple of years. That's why I'm just mentioning that.
I think in Europe it's more like variety. But yeah, if you break through, people stay really loyal and they come to you every gig, every year.
Yeah.
This is kind of a culture. And
the music industry seems to be very healthy over there.
I don't know about that, but it's different. I know the songs are different and the popular things are different because you would have the same performance, the same famous worldwide bands, and different songs would be iconic for Europe and different for Australia or States. I've discovered when I started traveling, I would know the artist and I would go to every bar in Australia and hear the same song on and on. Yeah. And in Poland, I can't remember hearing this song.
Yeah.
It's just different songs are popular.
Yeah.
It's slightly different taste.
Yeah, I've seen that as well too. I know we've got a band called the Angels, and they lost their lead singer probably about Doc Neeson, God bless him, about 5 years ago. But the lead singer from the Screaming Jets took over, and they're still just as big over in Europe. The Angels with this new lead singer, they're just iconic over there. And we've got a singer. Unfortunately, I think he's passed away now. His name's John English, but he's huge over was huge over in Europe.
Yeah, I think I actually heard of him in Europe.
Yeah, huge, and not that well. People know of him in Australia because he's Australian, but massive. He plays festivals over there in Europe. So different songs and different people. Rose Tattoo are huge in Europe. They're still big here. They're pub bands here, but they're iconic over there. So. And
you can't really tell until you try it how well it will be received by the market.
Have you heard of an Australian singer called Tina Arena?
Yes.
Yes, she's huge. She's now living in France. She's bigger in France. She's actually released a bunch of albums in French now. I was doing some.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was doing some research on her. She's got some albums in French now, and she's based over there. And that's her big market now. Is the French? Is the French market as well too? So it's huge over there. But yeah, I just wanted to say that the industry over there is, and I always tell all of my guys when they get signed, is that try to break the European market, just because also the population is so big over there. It's very small. We've got a very small population in
here spread, yeah.
Well, still 23, 24 million is not very big, because there's 23 million people living in downtown New York. or Manhattan
and this
Island.
is like really spread around Australia.
So you know, you always just do the math and try to break, and that's what I was saying about, you know, the American and the European market. You can always hit a lot more
It's
people.
more crowded.
Yeah.
It is.
If you want to say it like that, but there's more population. That's what I'm saying. So.
Per meter. It's just it's
Not
just
India,
funny.
but anyway.
Because there's like so many countries, and every country is like packed, and it's like different, slightly different. So there's a chance you'll make it in one of them.
Yeah, look, I have some bands that are bigger in some countries than others. You know, I know White Widow. You know, Spain, Greece. You know.
So more like Mediterranean area.
Well, yeah, that's I know that they're big, and they
and it's a different taste than UK or Scandinavia. It's different.
It depends on also, I think, what radio stations pick you up as well too. You know, Germany. I know they always play in Germany. You know, Germany seems to be, you know, a hot market.
Yeah, German is fantastic. Yeah,
So.
for music.
Anything else, Nat, that you want to add to video podcast number 29?
I'm good.
Okay.
I think we've covered the topic.
All right, fantastic. Guys, if you like this podcast, please subscribe. And you can check this out on our YouTube channel and also all the big podcast players. If you want to keep up with us, we're on Facebook, also on Insta as well too. And we release numerous topics and different free content. So check that out if you're a singer. And thanks for coming in, Nat. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
High five, and I'll see you next week, and we'll go through some other podcasts next week as well too.
Yeah, easy.
Okay, signing off. Bye for now.